Elvis Smylie, welcome back to the Tee It Up Golf Podcast 2025. What a difference 4 months can make in a young golfer's career. How the hell are you, mate?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm over in the West in Perth. Had a little training camp with the team and ready to kickstart the year in Dubai. I fly out tomorrow.
Mate, you're the most impressive 22-year-old I've ever seen. In number one on the golf course, what you did down the stretch at the PGA with a couple of the big dogs in Aussie golf breathing down your neck was cool. But the thing that I thought you handled the best was the presser at the Aussie Open. How how have you matured so much, like into this 22-year-old who just handles every? You've taken everything you stride. You cool, the Iceman, cool, calm, and collected. How's that happen?
I mean, I don't know. I think just throughout this whole process, I've just done a really good job at not trying to be anyone else but myself because I feel like, especially when you're, in the limelight, the true person really shines. And I just feel like I'm always conscious of that. And especially when I'm in the media and trying to, make a good name for myself, I just want to be me and show who Elvis really is. So, yeah, I feel like I've done a good job of that so far.
You've done it again just now, mate. You've absolutely nailed that answer. You're a superstar. We love to see it. But mate, we spoke to you in August, before the Aussie season kicked off. So what is it? It's now the 10th of Jan. So yeah, what? Almost 5 months. You're 1,037th in the world rankings. You're now number 199. You've got a full card, a winners category card to play on the DP World Tour for the next couple of years. You're going to play all the Rolex events. You're going to do, what we spoke about then was you just wanted to have a really solid year and, work on your body and make a few cuts and have a bit of fun, get back to
Mm.
loving the game. From the outside looking in, it looks like you've achieved that already in 4 months. So how's that been? Well, it must have been a whirlwind for you. Well, we spoke to you post WA Open, and your next goal was to order a merit, get your card out that way. But how's it been, mate? Like you must have been on cloud nine still.
Yeah, I think like even going back to October last year where started I started in the WA PGA. I had an 8 week event stretch over 9 weeks. So I played 8 tournaments in 9 weeks, and I knew that that was the best thing for me at the time because I'd put all the work in technically, and all I needed to do was just go play competitively. And as each week's gone on, I've felt more and more comfortable because it's my comfort zone playing competitively and playing when there's something on the line. And um, one thing led to another, and I just kept the momentum going. And then I got to the PGA where I'm obviously really comfortable with like the course. That is, I've played Royal Queensland heaps of times, and um, my game was in a great spot. I had all my team there, and yeah, I mean, I obviously just like when you're saying all those things out loud, it like hits now that I've gotten myself in a position where I've dreamed of. I'm playing in a Rolex Series event next week, which attracts pretty much the biggest field in golf. You got Rory McIlroy, John Rahm teeing it up, like these guys that I've idolized growing up. It's just going to be really cool to test my game against theirs and just get 2025 going.
It's been insane, like following you this season. Ever since we spoke, I've had, won a couple of shekels off you, which is always nice. But, anyone who'd listened to me, I said, watch Elvis this season. Like, after speaking to you, you can see how happy you are with where you're at. How's that change been? Like we spoke about, you changing coaches. How's it been going over to Richie Smith and having like the support of all that crew, especially now that you're proving that your talent's there? How's that been having that little nucleus around you kept you grounded?
Yeah, definitely. Especially, the last 2 weeks I've spent over here in Perth as like a little training camp. A lot of other Richie's players have been here too, like Minwoo and Minji and Hannah. So that's been really cool, just being around them and just seeing how they practice and how they go about their stuff. And that friendly rivalry, competitive environment uh, is such a great tool for me to be able to just like keep improving because I played with Minwoo and Minji at Karrinyup a couple of days ago, and just playing against Minwoo specifically, like Minwoo's just like a different kettle of fish. When you get him on the golf course, he's the most competitive, hungry guy, and even if we're playing for $1, he'll still just be absolutely relentless, and he'll let you know about it as well. And just being in that environment, I've really thrived in that. And it's something that I need to get a little bit better at as well, because I'm still quite an introvert. I'd like to say I don't quite give it back as much as I receive it. So it's something that I do really enjoy. And, I'll definitely be traveling with a couple of, I'm not sure if I'll travel with Minwoo this year, but a couple of other Aussies on tour. Mika, who's a good friend of mine, and Jason Scrivener as well. So, yeah, it's been really good.
No, the DP World Tour Aussie crew, even the Kiwis over there, are just some of the best in the world. The guys that I've met, like Mika, gives so much back to Aussie golf. He's a massive supporter of yours. I know. Like we saw, you even told me before that he splashed water on you when you won, or
Yeah.
champagne, or whatever it was. And he's just the great thing about Mika is he's happy to see other people succeed, as competitive as he is on the golf course. So talk about that. What it's been like having guys like that in your corner, and have you picked his brain at all pre-season?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is with like Mika specifically, like he knows, um, like he's had a full year on the European tour now, so he knows like the hard struggles of especially breaking through. Like he knows how hard it is to try and win your first European tour. He was obviously really close in Munich at the International Open, and we're all out there trying to do the same thing, but we're more so competing against the course than we are against each other. Like I think the course is more of a thing that we're focusing on trying to beat. But I'm really looking forward to being with Mika out there this year, because he's obviously had that experience, and
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him a lot recently, but it's something that I'm looking forward to doing these next couple of months out on tour with him.
Yeah, it's unreal. Let's just have a chat now about your Oz PGA win, mate. It was an incredible, it was a weird week. Washed out one of the days. You led from wire to wire. Big field, European Tourist event. You had like Jordan Smith there. You had Jason Day come over. You had Cam Smith, Mark Leishman in your group in the final day. A few of the young guys, like your mates of yours, I'm guessing, with like Harrison Crowe and Butch, and those guys had great weeks as well. Take us inside Camp Smylie for that week. Like you mentioned before, you're really comfortable around RQ. You've played a lot of golf there as a kid. But just take us back to the start of that week, and we'll work through what it was like holding the cup up at the end.
Yeah, so the first 2 days I played with Daniel Gale, who's a really good mate of mine. I enjoy playing with
Nicest guy
Gailey.
in Australian golf.
Yeah, and the French guy named Adrien Sadier. So I had two great guys to walk inside the ropes with those first 2 days, and we all played some pretty good golf. So I felt like we're always feeding off each other's momentum. And the course was presented in really good condition, regardless of the amount of rain that we had. I felt like the course still stayed pretty firm and fast, especially with the greens and their surroundings. Like the fairways were pretty wet, but I feel like RQ's defense course-wise is their approach shots and making sure that you're shaping the right shots into some of those tricky pin locations. Otherwise, you're going to be having those chips back up the hill, and you can really get yourself out of position quick. So I felt like the course did a really good job at still showing its teeth in areas. So yeah, then obviously when that weather delay came in on the Saturday, that was obviously quite tricky to be able to just handle yourself in terms of not knowing what the next step is. Like I actually thought we were going to be playing, I felt like we were going to be playing 36 on the Friday to try and catch up.
No, Friday
Wait,
was
hang on.
washed out. Friday
No,
was washed
sorry.
out. Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. I thought we were going to be playing 36 on Saturday to try and catch up,
I
but
thought that too. Yeah.
the course was just too wet, and obviously ended up being 54, and it definitely made things a bit more interesting because I shot 6 under in the first round. I got off to a really good start, and then shot 4 under in the second round, and I think Cam was tied at the top. I think we were both tied at 10 under. So
correct. Yeah.
yeah, obviously I was in a really good position, and then Saturday got canned, and then Sunday showdown, and playing that final day with Cam and Leach was it was a pretty cool day. I mean, like, even if you put their accolades aside, both Cameron Smith and Marc Leishman, if you just played with them just as like people and just exclude what they've done, like, they're two of the nicest guys you'd meet. And, whenever one of us did something, we'd always just, really like say, oh, well done. Like, that was a great shot. Like, I think we're all always cheering for each other, which was kind of cool. It wasn't too intense, but I did know at the same time that they're trying to beat me as much as I'm trying to beat them. So, but the crowds were amazing, and it was a special day for sure.
It was nuts. The way that you just kept your head, like, you saved yourself so many times. And I was watching from home on TV, and the coverage was sensational. Take us through the putter. So you've got a center shaft, Scotty Cameron. I think it's a T11.5 from.
Yeah.
I picked it up actually at the Aussie Open, mate. You left your bag out the front of the media centre, and I just wanted to see if it would pass any skill onto me. It has. I've actually putted all right lately. McGill's taking credit for that, though. But take us inside sort of how you kept saving it. Like, what did you do over your preseason, like you spoke about, changing the way that you practice that helped you in that situation?
So going back, I actually changed the putter first week of September. I've always used a blade putter, and Richie thought it would be a good idea to get into a center shaft mallet. So it just helps stabilize. For me, I'm a little bit more of like a handsy putter, so my hands get quite active in transition. So it was almost to help stabilize my hands through impact. So I definitely have felt a positive impact in that regard. So I've been using it ever since September, and then obviously I've just felt really comfortable over it. I think the first couple of weeks when I first got the putter, it was a little bit tricky to get the adjustment correct because the shaft comes up on like an angle. So the shaft actually comes up from the middle of the putter to on an angle. So your hands naturally sit a little bit forward. So just trying to set your hands in the right spot was probably something that I needed to get used to off the bat. But as soon as I got over that, I was flying. I was ready to go with it.
What goes through your head? So you've got a one-shot lead on 18 at Royal Queensland with Cam Smith, who's just made a mint birdie on the par 3 to, put the wind up here. Give you a bit of a fright. What goes through your head over the ball for that final putt to win? Like, do you remember what you're thinking about other than holding the putt, obviously? But you're human; things creep in. Like, can you take us into that moment? What it was like?
Yeah. So when Cam chipped in on 17,
nuts.
I just started smiling a lot because I felt like that's such a Cameron Smith thing to do. He's obviously very clutch. He's got a really good short game, and standing on 18 with a 2-shot lead, the fairway is as wide as anything, right, at RQ. And there's one bunker that just sits right in the middle, and it's about the 275, 280 meter mark. And the lip of that's quite strong. So you have to pick a side and just fire it down there. And I picked the right-hand side, and I tugged my tee shot, and it hit the only tree on the hole, and ended up getting directly behind it. I had to hit this low sweeping hook from about 215 meters. And I'd much rather hook it than cut it because there was no cut at all. There was no option to cut it. And the pin was back right. So hooking it was a better option to get near the hole or within the vicinity of the green. And ended up hitting in that right trap. And there's still a little bit of room to work with. So I felt like I could get up and down and make 4. And Cam slots driver up 18, and then he hits an 8-iron from the middle side of the right fairway, and he hits in the front right trap where I am as well. So the only thing that's going through my mind is, like, I know he can hole it. Like, that's the mindset I had. So if he holds this, I've got to get up and down to win. So anyway, so I hit mine out to about 3 feet. And I'm like, okay, I said to my caddy, Dwayne, I'm like, what does he need to do? Like, even though deep down I knew what he had to do, I just wanted like confirmation from someone else that um, whatever he does, like in terms of about he can hold it. So that's
Yeah.
why I had to make sure that I had to hold my 3-footer, and that was to keep a bogey-free round going, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Bogey free round to win it with, those two are going to go down as two of the Aussie greats, breathing down your neck to win at 22. I was
Yeah.
so excited for you, mate. Like I was on the couch, just absolutely pumped. And the family were all there. I saw your mum and dad cruising around, Kingston Heath the following week. They looked like they were still like just absolutely stoked with how you're going. Like, what has that meant to the family to have you, not only win one of Australia's majors, big 2 weeks, but secure your future, I guess, on the DP World Tour.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, they've been with me every step of the way, and um, I'm hoping that they can travel with me a bit more often now. So there's a couple of tournaments, especially in the middle of the year, that is kind of around the same time as Wimbledon, which is where my mum commentates, and my dad will be over there at the same time. So
Yeah,
we're
cool.
trying to do like a couple week stretch in the middle part of the year, so that we can all get together. So that'll be fun.
Unreal, mate. So cool. Last couple of questions, and I'll let you get back to your holiday. I think you're flying out for Dubai tomorrow, so I
Yeah, that's all
won't take
right.
much more of your time.
No
The
worries.
aftermath. So, you win, one of the two Aussie majors, probably the bigger one in the Oz PGA this year. Prize pool is a lot bigger, and those sort of things. And what it gets you is the same as the Aussie Open in terms of, a card for the DP World Tour. Flying straight to Melbourne, I saw you on the putting green on Monday at Kingston Heath, I believe.
Hmm.
What was that like? Take us. Can you just take the listeners to this pod inside the back end of winning a huge Aussie tournament and sort of the stress and that you're getting whisked away? But can you just sort of take us inside the next sort of 10 hours? Obviously we don't know what you did before you went to bed or when you're sleeping. But apart from that, like, what's it like winning and then the stress and everything you have to go through to get back down to Melbourne and then reset to go again?
Yeah, I think obviously I was quite overwhelmed with the amount of messages that I'd received within the 24 hours after the Sunday at RQ. So I knew that I wanted to make sure that by the time the Thursday came at the Aussie Open, I was ready to go, and I made sure that I'd done all the preparation that I needed to do. So that Monday, I ended up doing like all the media commitments that I needed to do. And then that Tuesday, Wednesday is where I could, do my work. And I didn't really get bothered too much, which was really nice because obviously I still wanted to embrace everything that happened at Royal Queensland. But at the same time, like my goal, like ever since I was a kid, is to win my national open. And that was still in, the front of my mind. So I wanted to make sure that by the time Thursday came, I was ready to tee it up and I'd done everything in lead up. So, yeah, I had a new caddy on the bag. That was probably the only thing that did
First
change. So,
person ever.
um, so Dwayne Smith, who's Sarah Jane's husband, he
Yeah.
caddied for me at the PGA, and Sarah Jane was playing at the Aussie Open the next week. So there was more important people that Dwayne needed to
He's a
caddy
smart
for other
man.
than
He's a very
yeah.
smart man.
I was down the pecking order a bit, which is completely understandable. So
Yeah.
I had Golf Australia high performance manager Matt Ballard on my bag.
Yeah.
That was really good because I've known Matty for a couple of years now, and it was a great time for us to tee it up, and yeah, we did really well. We had a really good week, top five, which was good.
Yeah. I was about to say, mate, T5. With the week you had, like, I saw you around, and, just so gracious in saying g'day and things like that. I knew you just were there to just get your work done, but you always said hi. Um, I think what did you learn? Like, what have you learned about yourself from the last sort of 8 weeks of your golf career? Like, is there any sort of takeaways where you just like, all right, I can do this now?
Yeah, I think like being in South Africa, I played the Nedbank Golf Challenge the week after
You did.
the Australian Open, and the reason why I got into that field was because I was a tournament winner on the European Tour now, and it's only a 66 player field, so there was a lot
No
of
cups.
tournament winners there, and then a lot of great guys that had played well on the Race to Dubai the previous year to get into that event.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it was more so just seeing how well each of those players in South Africa prepared, like what they did on a day-to-day basis. And it's almost like I believe that like this is where I belong, because this is what I've been doing for, at least the last year and a half of productive work, like in the gym and my warm-ups and working hard. It's like you're around like-minded people like yourself now. And there's obviously so many great guys on the Australian tour. Like, I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's like, the European tour is now just like that little step above that.
Absolutely.
So it seems like everyone's just doing everything that's required. And you get to see that firsthand in preparation. So that's really where I felt like I, started to sink in. You're competing against like really, really top players that just do everything that they need to do.
Yeah. Well, everyone on the Aussie tour is chasing that DP World Tour
Yeah.
card, mate, by playing
Yeah.
on the tour. It's the auto merit reward, and you've got guys like Gailey, Brett Colletta, all those guys are going to be over there with you
Yeah.
this year
Yeah.
after last year's auto merit. Um, like you mentioned, mate, you got the Dubai Desert Classic this week. Incredible field, headlined by McIlroy, Adam Scott, like you mentioned, Rahm. Like, it's just going to be unbelievable. What does your schedule look like for 2025? You can be a bit picky with your winners
Yeah.
category, which is awesome. But what does your schedule look like, and what's one event that you're most looking forward to picking it up in?
Yeah. So for the first 4 months or so, it's just between uh, here, the Middle East, and Asia, and then everything heads over to Europe around that June mark. So I'll still be coming back and forth from and to Australia. But the one event that kind of stands out that I'm really looking forward to playing is Wentworth.
Yeah.
The home of the European Tour, and it's got all the castles there. And I've grown up watching that tournament on TV for a very long time. So that's definitely something that I'm really looking forward to playing. And then I'm also in the Scottish Open now, which is pretty cool. That's at a place called the Renaissance in North Berwick. So that's a co-sanctioning event with the PGA Tour, which is cool. So
Yeah.
um,
Nice, mate.
yeah, it'll be really cool.
Can really have a crack at chasing a few major starts with the status you've got. So that's also unbelievable, mate. Thank you so much for your time. You're endearing yourself every time you come on, mate, to the Tee It Up crew who listen to this. And yeah, I'm really thankful for the time you're giving us, mate. What you're doing for Aussie golf and the path you're showing for all these younger guys coming through is incredible. And the way you're holding yourself and carrying yourself is, I'm even learning from you, mate. The way you answer questions, I'm going to start doing that at home. See if I can, maybe reframe a few things. But you're sensational, mate. So good luck in Europe. We'll be watching this week in Dubai. Yeah, can't wait to see what the rest of 2025 holds for Elvis Smylie, mate. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the pod. It's great to be on.